I'm going to be showing you how I completely dismantle and reanimate a skateboard bearing that's been rusted shut, whether being in the garage for too long or being left outside. It's usually pretty possible to get it moving again, maybe not as well as it used to roll, but it's still usable, and that's really what it comes down to. So first, pop the shield off and then poke the Delrin crown out with something sharp like a pocket knife or pin. Now, if your skateboard bearing is very rusted shut, you'll need to reanimate everything. I do that with water. A lot of people are staunchly against water, but if you pay attention to how that water dries, it won't provide more rust for you to deal with. So using water to loosen it up, using a hot faucet, using a dish filled with water is always pretty helpful. What you need to do first is move all those balls to one side of the bearing, creating kind of a half moon shape, so then in turn the inner race can pivot around the two top and bottommost balls that are on both sides of the inner race. Then the race can spin, and then you can release some of the balls on the middle of that half moon and then completely dismantle the whole mechanism. Once you do, especially if it's a more used bearing, just scrub stuff and kind of clean dirt off of it. You could probably use the vinegar type of soak to get rust off, because that does neutralize some things and loosen things up. But for this purpose, I just kind of rolled the balls around in a cloth handkerchief, got some of the dirt off with a toothbrush. If you really have a lot of dirt stuck in the crown, you can use something like a pin, or if you want to be more gentle, a Q-tip to scrape the debris out. And that's another thing, scratches and dents, whether caused by wear to the bearing or by you cleaning it, will have an impact on the bearing's roll. So if you have a lot of small debris that usually gets in your bearing, such as sand or something, that bearing might be a little bit damaged and might not roll as well as some other ones. But from my experience, if you just keep on using it, it really just gets better with time and gets smoother. And even when things are a little bit looser, that's almost better. As long as you're not bombing a hill or doing something where the bearing is taking a ton of friction, you should probably be good. If you're like me and just dorking around at the skate park, not really going fast, just you want something that rolls, this is the perfect solution. So to get the bearing back together, you have to fold a piece of fabric so that you have a little bit of spring to it, because basically you're going to take the outer race, put the balls back in that half moon shape, and then press down on the surface to have the springy fabric lift the balls up into that inner groove. So a towel, paper towel, anything that will have some give to it, that will push everything up and back into place, that's what you really want. So once you have everything lined up, you'll put the inner race back in from whence it came and really just push it into place, and everything should go in smoothly. From there, you take a pin or whatever you're using to dismantle the bearing previously and push one of those balls up into the space that is not the half moon. So once you've done this, you can kind of relax and just redistribute the balls into their spots. There's 7 of them. They will all be equally spaced and they will fit into the crown. You can kind of fiddle with it until it's perfect, pop the crown in, and then you can begin trying to loosen things more, trying to see if it's better, if it's worse, what has happened in the cleaning process, and if rolling it more times, kind of putting some lube in there, getting it nice and worked in, that's usually what will get it going smoothly. Sometimes you might feel some debris chunks flipping around. Maybe there's things stuck to the balls, maybe there are scratches on the balls, like I said before, but it is good to give it a lot of spins. There might be some rust or debris still stuck in there that needs to be pushed out. It is also helpful to wet it again, get that water lubricant in there, spin it around a few more times, dry it off with a cloth, air dry it, make sure that you keep an eye on it so it doesn't, again, rust, and then put some lube in it. And if you leave it to sit, it might get a little bit worse than it is, but if you can go out and immediately skate on it, it will probably loosen up and be good for you and just work, because it's a pretty foolproof mechanism. So if you learned something, give this a like, and thanks for watching.